Carowinds hates spoilers. So instead of listing out every thrill you'll find at the park, we're going to just list off your reactions. In no particular order. Screaming, splashing, smiling, saying you're not nervous, being nervous, getting a second funnel cake, closing your eyes, opening them, closing them again, and having the best time ever. So sit back and enjoy the ride at Carowinds, including 4 new classic rides in the new county fair.
For a limited time, everyone pays kids' price. Only at Carowinds.com.
Blog Talk Radio.
Good morning. It's Jeff Altman, the Big Game Hunter at No BS Job Search Advice Radio, and welcome to the official launch of my show. It's January 3rd, 2011. I almost said 2010 out of habit, but, that's the way it is sometimes. Habits are hard to break. The sun has risen. The new year has begun. The joy of new beginnings is with us. And we have a lot to cover this morning because it is a new year, and for many people, the start of thinking about getting back to work again. So I want to start off by talking about the job market and where it is right now. And I'll start by saying that I've been blogging about the job market since August of 2001, a little bit before 9/11 in the U.S. And I must say that generally I've been right far more often than I've been wrong. And, if you go to thejobmarketblog.com and review my posts over the years, you'll see that what I'm saying is absolutely true. Far more often than not, I've been right. And as we are now at the beginning of 2011, things have gotten a lot better. Are we back in a robust, booming economy? Absolutely not. But clearly, private sector hiring is back. And you may not see that in employment numbers, and I'm not exactly sure why, but, as a headhunter, as someone who's in the job market day in and day out, what I'm seeing is employment has dramatically picked up for white-collar workers. And to me, that's great news because, there is this notion that trickle-down is a bad thing, but frankly, trickle-down is the way things work. In some way, shape, or form, there are people with money who spend it, and that causes new jobs to be created. So, when all is said and done, with white-collar workers starting to come back to work, that creates jobs for blue-collar workers. And although unemployment will probably remain high for most of this year and probably into next, that's not because the private sector is suffering. Frankly, it's because stimulus money has run out. There's no appetite for stimulus at this point. And when all is said and done, the government sector at the state and local level is going to be feeling the squeeze that the private sector felt on the heels of the financial industry implosion. So, what I would say is don't worry about what you read in the papers about numbers. It's irrelevant. What you need to do is get yourself out there and get yourself motivated to, start networking and, contact recruiters and reply to job ads and do all those sorts of things that people do when they're out looking for work. So, I'll start by saying, on this Monday morning after a holiday period in the U.S., it's not really the ideal time to call Monday at 9:15 or 9:30 to say, hi, what's new? And have you gotten any interviews for me? This is best a time to leave people to their own devices to get reacquainted with their colleagues at work. They say all those sorts of things that people say to one another when they come back from a long weekend. Hi, how are you? How was your New Year's? Did you have a good time? What'd you do? All those obvious sorts of things that people do when they're in the process of getting reacquainted after a long period of time. So just leave the morning to people to get reacquainted, as my office is obviously in the process of doing, as you're hearing noise around me. But when all is said and done, you can start picking up with people late morning, and I would say be gentle with them. Hi, how are you? I just want to remind you that I'm back. I'm still looking. Check in with people, see how their weekend was, stuff along those lines, and all the obvious sorts of things as though you were checking in with folks. And then as the week progresses, frankly, as tomorrow comes, it's a good time to start talking with folks about the more serious things of job hunting. So that's my suggestion for the day. And, frankly, I also want to suggest to you that in terms of, your own efforts and motivations, don't pay attention to what you're reading in the press. It's wrong. The job market is back and back in a pretty strong way for people who are out aggressively looking for work, and that's in a lot of different sectors. I said white-collar work is clearly back, and absolutely is. That's in technology, accounting, and finance. Wall Street's hiring in a huge way. Manufacturing jobs, logistics, supply chain-related positions, consulting roles, management consulting roles. There's a whole host of white-collar positions that firms are back hiring for. Bookkeepers, office managers. There's a lot of different jobs that are back available. And so often people are sitting around moping going, oh, there's nothing going on, and they feel pathetic for themselves. Stop it. Frankly, as a colleague of mine said, one of the reasons that people are out of work is their own fault. And if you succumb to the malaise or the funk that comes from sitting around and watching Oprah all day, you're going to be sitting around watching Oprah all day for a long time. But if you get yourself motivated and get yourself out the door and talking to folks, then you have a shot of finding a position. So those are my comments about the job market, and let's talk about a couple of the jobs that we're recruiting for and that you might find interesting. I've got a client in northern New Jersey that's looking for a couple of people in the Franklin Lakes area. One is a FileNet architect, a lead with a background on focusing on architecting solutions based on image services, CFS, SIS, and P84, a good knowledge of ICR and RCR concepts, content modeling, including object store modeling. That's paying about 155 on a base plus bonus. Plus, I've got program manager roles with them that are paying 120 to 140 on a base. These are people who can be based anywhere in the the northeastern U.S., who are willing to do fly-in, fly-out if necessary. That is, they fly in on Monday, they get you home Friday, you're home for the weekend. Have a role in the Los Angeles area for someone to manage engineering services for a firm. Coming out of financial services, they'll do a relocation. Networking, security, Microsoft administration, Unix administration, DB administration, an overall engineering lead. Let me restate that. An overall engineering manager / director for a financial services firm. Figure on a base going up to 150 plus a targeted bonus of about 50%. And so all in, it should be about 210 to 225 as a package. Have a role for a software engineer for server platforms in the New York area for someone with experience with at least 3 different languages, C++, Java, and Ruby. It's a Linux shop, but they'll take people who live and breathe technology from an engineering standpoint. That's going to about 135 on a base plus bonus. Those are, I think, the few jobs I'll highlight this morning. There are actually many more, and if you want to see more of the jobs we're recruiting for, come over to my website, which is jeffaltman.com. That's JEFFALTMAN.com. Now, also want to point out something to you that I think you might find useful in marketing yourself, and that is a little product on LinkedIn that will help you put your resume onto LinkedIn. So instead of going to LinkedIn right now, I want you to go to a special area that they have called LinkedIn Labs. So that's LinkedInLabs.com. And when you get to LinkedIn Labs, you're going to see a number of different products that they're prototyping there. And if you scroll down past Signal, which they're charging a fortune for, go to the one called a Resume Builder. And it's a pretty simple way of building a resume as a PDF using the base LinkedIn profile as the template for your resume. And that'll be attached to your resume, to your profile on LinkedIn. What that really does is give some people something that they can download easily in an attractive format. as a way of being able to stay in touch with you. After all, when you think about it, people want to be able to database information about someone that they're curious about. And if you understand the way people are using LinkedIn, they're using keyword searches to find people that might fit roles that they have and then try and go out and recruit them. So by having something that they can download in case you just don't quite fit in, they have a way of getting back in contact with you through their database. So the resume that LinkedIn Labs provides you with is pretty much your profile, but you can add a few things to it that make it useful. So make sure you have email addresses available to folks. Make sure that you have phone numbers that are available, include your mobile number, because those are the sorts of things that people are going to want to have to get in touch with you through their database. So it's a real simple format. Just follow it. If you prefer not using LinkedIn, there's another service that I understand has something similar called Snap Pages. And Snap Pages isn't going to attach it to your LinkedIn profile, but what they're going to wind up doing is giving you a web page of your resume. So you're basically able to create a resume for your background, and then from there, you'll be able to set up a site for yourself of basically your resume. That's useful in the context of, again, people are using the web to recruit and not just using job boards, and it gives them another way of finding you. So, those are a couple of the tips and observations I have as we start off the new year. I also want to remind you that every Tuesday I publish an e-zine called No BS Job Search Advice e-zine that has different tips and suggestions for people, useful links where you can post your resume, a variety of pieces of information that I think will be helpful to you. And to get your complimentary subscription, again, go to my website, jeffaltman.com, and if you look in the upper right, there's a place where you can subscribe easily. While you're at the site, I'd like you to spend a little bit of time, and at the top there's a section called links or helpful links, and you can wind up clicking on my helpful links area, and you'll have about 55 places where you can post your resume to. On the home page, there's also easy to work with career builder links. I'm well aware that as a headhunter, I'm limited as to what I can do. Most people who come to my site don't fit any of the positions I'm recruiting for. So I've tried to create a site that's basically helpful with information about job hunting, places that you can post your resume, and a host of additional information. So again, come over to jeffaltman.com. At the home page, use the easy to work with career builder links. There's access to jobsearchuniverse.com and their meta search engine, links to post your resume. You can find out information about my various books on job hunting, but I'm not here trying to sell you my books. Frankly, I'm hoping that with all these other things I give you, there's no need for it. But again, some people would rather find information in a concise, condensed format, and my books are available to help those folks. So there's a lot of free information from previous articles on No BS Job Search Advice Easy that you may find interesting. And if you're interested in having one of your jobs posted on or read as a commercial on this show, contact me at thebiggamehunter@gmail.com, and I'll send you information about how we price that. So I hope you find this interesting. We're going to be broadcasting every Monday with the exception of when there are national holidays in the U.S. So again, Jeff Altman, the Big Game Hunter, welcome to the new year. Have a great day.
Carowinds hates spoilers. So instead of listing out every thrill you'll find at the park, we're going to just list off your reactions in no particular order. Screaming, splashing, smiling, saying you're not nervous, being nervous, getting a second funnel cake, closing your eyes, opening them, closing them again, and having the best time ever. So sit back and enjoy the ride at Carowinds, including 4 new classic rides in the new county fair.
For a limited time, everyone pays kids' price. Only at Carowinds.com.